My name is Mary Jo Gonzales. This is my victim impact statement and an open letter to the honorable members of the California Board of Parole about the January 16, 2025 parole hearing for CDCR number G10505 Alexandre Hochstraser. I'm writing to you today to urge the Board of Parole proceedings to deny the parole request for the murderer and inmate CDDCR number G10505 and set the subsequent parole hearing to no less than 15 years. I have stayed silent for 20 years. I did not speak at the sentencing hearing. I knew this day would come where I would have to gather the courage to speak because my sister, Dolores Gonzales, deserves a lifetime of justice. This murderer, because he does not deserve to be named, to be called by his name, was convicted of first-degree premeditated murder. The police officers and detectives did their jobs. The jury took only hours to decide. The judge sentenced him to 25 years to life and 25 years before he would be eligible for parole. It is only 20 years later. We should not have to be here 5.5 years early. I'm not here to relitigate this murderer's case. I am here to talk about the facts. Indisputable facts, incontrovertible facts. This murderer chose to bash my sister's skull in while she was sleeping and while their son was sleeping in the next room. This murderer used a sawzall to dismember her body and mutilate her genitalia. 16 pieces. And 16 pieces was how our family got our daughter, our sister, and a mother back. This murderer placed her in bins to hide his crime, to get away with murder, and to dispose of her body. This murderer used bleach to wipe away nearly every trace of blood entirely from her home where they had lived and where they had raised their son. This murderer confessed, "I killed D." These are his words, not mine. This murderer is a psychopath. This murder was planned, methodical, calculated, and cold. He drew pictures of what he wanted to do to her. He practiced on a figurine. That is who he is. I was the one who packed up the belongings in the bathroom where he cut her up. I saw the purple stains where her blood had been spilt and its residue remained. Purple in the tub, in and around the toilet, on the toilet lid, the walls, the sink, the vanity, the floor, the door. It was me who separated her belongings that were covered in purple. I remember purple covered eye contact lenses, a case that I almost threw away because I didn't think it had any value. Something told me not to throw that case away, but to just pack it away and put it away. I didn't know that it held these earrings that her daughter would find years later. While you may want to ignore these facts or not hear about them 20 years later, these are the facts that haunt our family, that torture us, that continue to wound us. And when we think of Dee, no matter if it's a happy memory that comes up and arises, or if it's the sad memory of what happened to her, those images are never far from our minds, our thoughts, or our hearts. You have to know he has never apologized, nor has he expressed any regret or any type of remorse to our family. And if he is saying that to you now, it is because he wants you to set him free. His facade is not that deep. Do not let him fool you the way he fooled Dolores. Do not let him fool you the way that he fooled us, her family. He is a continuing threat to the community, to our family, and our safety. He will harm us if you set him free. All of that is for you to know and understand who he is. It is in such stark contrast to the woman who was known as Dolores Gonzales. She was a force. She was a free bird. She was a clown and a jokester. And she loved the Chinese food restaurant called Wings. She loved her daughter and her son fiercely and passionately. When I was in college, she was literally only a bus ride away when I wanted to call about boy problems or about the college experience, which was new for all of us. She introduced me to romance novels. Johanna Lindsay and the Mallory Brothers will always be who I compare. An ardent band mom for the Spirit of Sunnyvale, and SEIU 521 Union Steward. Dee was who I had entrusted to take care of my daughter should something happen to me. There were times when we were together that I had to just step back and let them build a bond and have a special moment without me, just in case I wasn't there. There are times when I disagreed with her choices, like when she bought my daughter her first bikini at age 5 years old. We argued about that. But I loved Dee. I trusted her and respected her with my most precious treasure, my baby girl. I had no idea that Dolores wouldn't be there to see my daughter go to the prom, graduate from college, or start her new job. At her core, Dee knew how to play and bring others along with her. Children loved and adored her because she would sit on the floor and just be with them. So many of her nieces and nephews and great nieces and nephews have never had or knew her love because he took that from us. She was always fighting for the underdog, for what was right, and for those who couldn't fight for themselves. When we heard the news about the early parole hearings, we all fell apart. And you have to know why. It is because of what he did to her. He will do it again. Ask his ex-wife how much she was afraid of him. If you set him free, you will be responsible for what he does. I am publicly leveling that charge and laying that responsibility at your feet. This incredible honor and one of the most painful burdens I have ever had to bear of carrying her memory, knowing that we would have to fight parole, is now your responsibility. Parole board proceeding members, I am pleading with you to carry on in this fight. Dolores deserves justice. Dolores deserves to rest in peace. And this murderer deserves to spend the rest of his life behind bars. It's your responsibility now. Respectfully, Mary Jo Gonzales, Louisville, Kentucky.